You'd be surprised how many things we still have in common today with people that lived in the 13 colonies and our relatives. The colony of New York was founded in 1664. The teenhood is from 1664 to 1670. The relative that I chose was my mom. She was born in 1962, and she was a teenager from 1975 to 1981. I was born in 1997. I am currently 14. My teenage years are 2010 to 2016. Teenagers in the 13 colonies had chores that had to do with them farming, since that's how they got food. They cleaned, weeded the garden, and farmed. My mom grew up on a farm, so her chores also had to do with farming. She would get up early to milk cows, feed dogs, chickens, clean the house, and her whole family had to go haying. The main chores that I have to do are cleaning my room and doing the dishes. I sometimes have to clean the rest of the house. New York was originally settled by Europeans as a Dutch colony. England annexed the colony after the 30 Years' War in Europe. My mom grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. There's hills, cornfields, rivers, mountains, and more. Wisconsin has a lot of terrain and all different kinds. I live in Iowa. Iowa is known for being very flat and mostly made of farmland. One thing that made a major change in the 13 colonies was when the Spanish brought Africans with them overseas. This began the trend of slavery. The conflict that my mom had was going through breast cancer. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. This was very hard for our family because my mom's side has history of a major cancer gene. My mom was tested for the gene and luckily it came up negative. She took chemo and radiation for a year and eventually became cancer-free. The change that I went through was my parents' divorce. My parents got divorced in 2006 when I was 8. Both of my parents got different houses. My mom in the country and my dad in an apartment. People in the 13 colonies mostly ate anything that they had on their farm, like cows, pigs, and corn. They didn't eat other things because they were much more expensive. Because my mom grew up on a farm without much money, her eating situation is very similar to the one in New York, where you mostly ate what you grew. Today, we can eat whatever we want because people have more money now and can afford to buy a number of different things. In the 13 colonies, specifically New York, people got around mostly by horses, carriages, and boats if they needed to cross water. They didn't have cars or planes like they do now. When my mom was a teenager and she lived on a farm, the teenagers always got used sports cars and would fix them up. In Clear Lake, you can get your permit at 14. Most people have their own car by 15 or 16. Otherwise, their parents and siblings have to drive them around. Things have changed a lot over the years, but if you look close enough, you'll find some things are still exactly the same.